Good morning. In this video, I'm going to discuss how the U.S. and the Federal Reserve found loopholes to get trillions of dollars into our economy and how that affected the everyday American with inflation, higher real estate prices, higher tax prices, higher insurance costs. I wanted to give you an idea of how they were able to manipulate this part. Most people believe the U.S. figured out that there was a huge problem with lending and they corrected and fixed those loopholes. Let's do a deep dive on how that occurred. Banks in 2007 figured out that there was a huge problem and there was trillions of dollars were lent, never should have been lent. The U.S. got together to create policy to change the lending guidelines, and in doing those corrections, it was difficult for your average American now to get a loan. You really truly had to qualify. It was going to protect our economy. It would protect us from inflation. Let's touch on how they create this loophole, crack into the market, and get all this money out and put us in the situation we're in today. Banks had trillions of dollars that they wanted to lend out. Blackstone went ahead and created a division, make sure they met every single criteria so they can get this money. Blackstone went ahead and lent this money out with minimal watch. They lent money according to the asset. Blackstone were able to get around the guideline. 60% of commercial real estate traded. We also seen the spike in price that occurred in commercial and in residential. It allowed for sales to occur that should have never occurred. I've seen several properties that closed within the last 6 years that traded 2 and 3 times. It sold for 11 mil, 2 years later sold for 18 mil, and 2 years after that it sold for 27 mil. Well, taxes have to adjust to the new sales price. Insurance has to adjust. Maintenance and the cost of materials have to adjust. Today, as I'm making this video, we could see what occurred when they put this money out into the economy. We're in a market totally, completely inflated. We pretty much peaked out. Every part of our economy is inflated. First time in American history that the stock market and the real estate market are shown in charts, both inflated at the same time. First time in U.S. history that this has occurred. Our economists, the Federal Reserve, and our government, our oligarchs and our capitalists, they're not waving the white flag. They're pressing and they're pushing to print money. They've been printing $1 billion a day since December 12th of 2025. When they turn those presses on, they're not looking to crash the economy. As those presses continue to print money, your prices will increase. Companies have a harder time of surviving and staying open. The cost of living gets really expensive. The people that do well are business owners. It's temporary. It's not a permanent fix. There was a foreclosure memorandum which did not allow for lenders to foreclose on homeowners. They were adjusting these loans. They were tacking on the late payments to the back of the loan. Families felt very confident in not having to make a payment. They could see their real estate increasing, made them feel confident in spending more money. First time in U.S. history, Americans are only saving 2.5% of their income. If you go back to the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, savings occurred between 5 to 10%. At the moment, we are in a real estate bubble. We are in a stock market bubble. Within the stock market, we are in an AI bubble. If you wonder why Warren Buffett pulled out of the market and he has $400 billion in bonds ready to deploy, it's simple. We are in a time where our government can't figure it out. They've pushed us into a corner. They just passed a new bill. They're going to take employees' 401k money and use that money to invest into AI stocks. We're in a time we need to really watch. Thank you for taking a moment to watch this video. If you like, please leave a comment. Thank you.